Without further ado, another day, another batch from the Twitter files. No need for preamble on this one. I already set it up fairly well yesterday, so we might as well just pick up exactly where we left off with the removal of Donald Trump off of Twitter. And that's what everything was centered around with last night's drop, I should say. Correct myself appropriately. All of it started well before the election, so this will be very interesting. 2020 we're talking about, and 2022, who knows, okay? It would be funny, though. I've seen a couple of people opine on this issue. I wonder how much of an issue, okay, or how much of a deciding factor releasing the Twitter files before the midterms would have made in the ensuing elections. Very interesting. Maybe that's the last time that they could really get away with pulling that trick, so... The world is going to be a very different place in 2024. Hell, even in 2023, it's even going to be more weird than it is right now. So it's tough to give definitive predictions of the future when you can barely predict the correct weather by the end of the week. Anyways, Elon Musk exposes. Well, it wasn't necessarily Musk as much as Matt Taibbi. But I guess he did give him access on, whatever. Anyways, exposes real reason Twitter censored former President Donald Trump, and it involves some three-letter agencies. One that might be fairly familiar from people who are keeping track, at least to the greater Twitter files universe. It'll make more sense here in a moment. Journalist Matt Taibbi published the third volume of the so-called Twitter files on Friday, exposing the social media platform's censorship and deplatforming of former President Donald Trump. The latest disclosure reveals that Twitter executives used the platform's formidable visibility filtering powers against Trump ahead of the 2020 U.S. election. That engagement with the FBI intensified before Trump was permanently suspended. Wow, it's almost like it works completely in concert with what Mark Zuckerberg was saying on the Joe Rogan podcast about how they would have intimate meetings with the FBI, and he said that, they should be on the lookout for, anything, surrounding Hunter Biden's laptop and it being, I was going to say medical, but I'm sure that'll be a drop in here somewhere along the line, but Russian disinformation, like I posited yesterday with the leaks from Thursday. All of these dates are getting very confusing, but in the second round, okay, everybody was just thinking, it's just a nothing burger. It wasn't quite as big as the first one. Yeah, sure, the first one had that catchy headlines. It's like, Hunter Biden's laptop was proven to be 1,000% legit and that Twitter was suppressing that information. Okay, thanks. We knew all of that stuff. The revelations in this series of tweets or posts or receipts provided kind of just largely proves, Trump was right about everything. But I pointed it out yesterday, okay? The fact that we're getting confirmation that Twitter had all of these tools in the background, it's not a unique enough platform where they would specifically have those types of back-end tools where they could put somebody on a blacklist, have suppression tools for different reasons, okay, your search features, your algorithm boost features, your trending features, just have those specific to those platforms. No. If we all see how bad the censorship is over on Twitter, how bad do you think it is over at bigger platforms? Meta? Google? What fresh hell do they have, and are we ever going to see it? Because, Elon Musk can buy Twitter for 44.6, I can't quite remember, but 44 and change billions of dollars, okay? How much would somebody have to pay, for Instagram? How much would somebody have to pay for YouTube? And even if somebody was to come up with that much money, would they have the same dedication to truth and transparency that Elon Musk does? That's a big fat fucking nope. I can't see anybody out there on the horizon with that sort of principled compass at the helm. I don't quite think so. Latest disclosure revealed, FBI, we already got that. Go back to this anyways. Okay, the new report titled The Removal of Donald Trump is the first of three specifically examining the actions of Twitter executives during the period from October 2020, when Trump was deplatformed, on January 8th, 2021. Internal Slack chats at Twitter reveal the engagement between the company's executives and federal law enforcement and intelligence organizations surged during this period. Whatever your opinion on the decision to remove Trump that day, the internal communications at Twitter between January 6th and January 8th have clear historical import, Taibbi wrote. Even Twitter's employees understood in the moment it was a landmark moment in the annals of speech. And yes, I will link to the thread if you'd like to read through all of this stuff. Some of that stuff is... like, I wanted to just go right through, the entire thread, just get the source material. But because of the terms of service on YouTube, this is kind of an impossibility. And your boy's just kind of teetering on the edge of getting deplatformed himself off of YouTube. So we're just going to link out to that. And if you'd like to read through that more cohesively, feel free. I just picked this summation of everything that's on there because it covers everything that we need it to in a way that we can still have this discussion about it. Is the first sitting head of state to ever be suspended, one Twitter employee whose name is redacted asked in a Slack chat that day. Yeah, it is, because you still have what? Like, everybody likes to throw to it, oh, the Ayatollah of Iran still has the Twitter account. Yeah, exactly. They just haven't pissed off the deep state as deeply as Donald Trump has, okay? That's just the sad fucking state of affairs. You can get mad at it, you can get pissed off at it, or you can accept it for the way that it is and appreciate the person that Trump is, even if your political inklings don't line up with him, okay? That was a guy who didn't need the office of president, okay? He's not somebody who lusts for power. Everybody who wants to project that onto him, you should probably check yourself. And if you want to see anybody lusting for power, check out Joe Biden. 5 fucking decades in public service, working his way up all the way to the top, only to, with his cold, dead hands, cling on to that fucking chair in the Oval Office. It's like, bro, your time has come and gone multiple times over, but you still wanted to hang in and have your name among the 46 other people in office. That's very interesting, very interesting. But yes, further comparisons to Trump. And the reason that, he is so maligned by the deep state is because he doesn't need the office, okay? He likes America. Take a look at his actions. Take a look at his words in particularly. He is American first and foremost, okay? That's why the politicos, that's why the 3- and 4-letter agencies fucking detested him, because he couldn't be bought. He already has his billions of dollars, okay? He has his lovely family. He has a beautiful wife and another, wife in the wings if he so wants it, okay? Like, the dude has everything. He only stood to lose for running for president, and he still did it anyways because he thought it was the right thing for the country. But back to this. Messages show that Twitter executives removed Trump in part because of what one executive called context surrounding the actions of Trump and his supporters over the course of the election and, frankly, the last 4+ years. Yeah, that's why that preamble was important, because they hate Trump, and they also fear his supporters. Like, this is all shit that we knew for a long time. This is just, confirmation that we aren't fucking crazy tinfoil hat wearing fucking drooling retards. We knew this stuff. We engaged critical thinking skills, and it's like, this kind of seems like a conspiracy. Shut up, you're spreading misinformation. And then when this comes out, guess what? Mass media, radio fucking silent on it, bro. Like, oh, okay, who's orchestrating the conspiracy now? In a message to Vijay Gaji, Twitter's former head of legal policy and trust and head of a couple of those censorship, the 6-letter ones that were in the background, one executive whose name is redacted provided a quick take formulated by internal research and external academics to help decide whether to censor a Trump tweet or use it as a last straw before banning him. Now, can we use this as a last straw? No, we can't. Not yet. Now, can we? No, we can't yet. They were just waiting for an opportunity, because everybody thought, okay, maybe they're probably just going to wait until after the election once he's not a sitting president, because they wouldn't have the balls to. Oh, they did. And they used what exactly? Him telling supporters to go home? Well, now you can see the fact that they were big shook by all of his supporters, okay? The meme that he tweeted out, okay? It's not me they're after. I'm just simply in the way. That couldn't be more true. The executive said the decision on whether to pull that particular tweet or use it as a last straw for Trump depends on the overall context and narrative in which that tweet lives. God, all of this fucking postmodernist language is fucking disgusting. Speak specifically. The context and the narrative and the last straw. It's like, did he say something that violated the fucking terms of service? Well, then we'd have to just drag it out a little further, okay? What exactly does the terms of service say? A lot of context and narrative and, conversations, a bunch of fucking flowery language written by a bunch of morons. That's exactly what that fucking is. Something that's just so vague and nebulous enough to encapsulate whatever you need it to for that such reason, okay? Is this the last straw? No, not quite. It doesn't quite fit the narrative. Is this one it? Well, we could kind of shift it to, yeah, okay, get rid of them. Context matters in the narrative that Trump and his friends have pursued over the course of the election, and frankly, the last 4.5 years must be 4+ years, must be taken into account, the executive said, adding the screenshot of internal messages. Before Trump was banned, Twitter also created a new tool to censor the then sitting president after the election. Oh, okay, when he was vocal with his claims of election fraud. Internally, executives referred to this tool as L3 deamplification. Interesting. Level 3 deamplification. Yeah. The new tool was announced on December 10th, 2020. Okay, so that's a month and change after the election, when Trump was in the middle of firing off 25 tweets saying things like, a coup is taking place right in front of our eyes, Taibbi wrote. So you know what they did? And it's like, hey, he's talking all these conspiracy theory jargon, okay? You know what we should do? We should collude behind the scenes in order to de-amplify his tweets, okay? To suppress his reach. Okay, cool. So we're going to go ahead and we're going to own the right. We're going to go ahead and dunk on the chuds by proving them right. Fucking what? On Thursday, the Free Press editor, Barry Weiss, also reported another reporter handpicked by Musk to conduct the releasing of the files, published a report to the extent that Twitter tools for censorship, revealing the social media company's secret blacklist. Her report noted that executives refer to shadow banning as visibility filtering. A rose by any other name would still stink like rotting fucking flesh. The FBI sent reports to Twitter executives flagging particular tweets, which were then discussed internally, resulting in actions taken to censor some tweets or have warning labels slapped on others. You remember those stupid little warning labels, okay? They were specific in the fact that you couldn't like them and you couldn't reply to them, but you could retweet them and quote retweet them. I remember that at that time. Okay, Twitter executives set up a dedicated group chat in October 2020, so a month before the election, to discuss election-related removals, the files show. Why would they know that they needed to get rid of that stuff beforehand? Okay, we know that they were in close contact with the Biden administration. Very interesting stuff here, okay? Some other obvious things are starting to be connected here. Again, no receipts yet. Whether the Trump campaign, the White House, or the Trump White House, nor Republicans generally sent moderation requests to Twitter, Taibbi noted. Yeah, this was I think this one's in the 30s if you're going to be perusing it by yourself. We looked, they may exist. We were told they do. However, they were absent here, he wrote. So the Trump campaign never asked for anything to be removed. Very important. At least they couldn't find anything. Maybe that was deleted by Jim Baker on his way out the door. Always a possibility. The framework for justifying banning Trump was built on months before January 2021, when federal agencies were meeting with Twitter executives more often, according to Taibbi. At one point, child exploitation material enthusiast Yoel Roth. We'll have to talk about him at a later date, or maybe there's going to be something in this entire ecosphere that might pertain to him in particular, but that dude's got a shady fucking past. Yes, Twitter's former head of trust and safety noted that in a Slack message regarding Twitter censorship in the New York Post's Hunter Biden laptop story, that he had weekly sync meetings regarding election security with the FBI, Department of Homeland Security, and the Office of Director of National Intelligence. Interesting. Very fucking interesting. And I know, I've seen the criticism that's out there. That was Trump's FBI, DHS, and head of National Security. I forgot the third one. My mistake. Needed to keep the act up. But whatever. Okay, cool. Yeah, and you know what's even more fucked up about that situation? They were under his control. That just goes to show you how much the fucking swamp despised Trump. Do you think they're going to have that same energy for any of those Ron DeSimps out there? I'm just checking, just wondering, why do you think we need Trump 2024? As the election approached, senior executives, perhaps under pressure from federal agencies with whom they met more as time progressed, increasingly struggled with rules and began to speak of Vios as pretext to what they'd likely have done anyway, Taibbi wrote. What the fuck is a Vios? It's like a really shitty knockoff of a Sony product? Internal Slack chats suggest that communication lines between Twitter executives and the FBI were more intense after January 6, 2021. Oh, and the chats illustrate executive attitudes toward the meetings. One screenshot of internal messages showed Slack chats from Roth about how difficult it was for him to conceal his FBI meetings in his calendar. Oh, so nobody was supposed to know about this obvious abuse of governmental power over private companies. Where are all those brainlets out there? It's a private company, it can do whatever it wants. But now when the government's directly interfering, they're awfully fucking quiet now, aren't they? I'm a big believer in calendar transparency, except for the things that I don't want you to see. Outside of that, feel free to look at anything you want, Roth wrote. But I reached a certain point where my meetings became very interesting. Oh, really? Care to elaborate? No? I understand. Well, you can go ahead and tell a committee. You might even get to tell a judge. To people, and there weren't meaning names generic enough to cover. Wow! An employee whose name is redacted, leaning into the joke, replied, "Very boring business meeting that is definitely not about Trump." Winky face. Are you fucking kidding me, bro? This was what was going on at Twitter, huh? And we were just told, no, you guys are just all racist bigots that are out there if you think that there's a grander conspiracy going on behind the scenes. And you think that this was just simply between Twitter and the FBI, the DHS, and the National Director of Intelligence. You just think that it was that one big tech firm off to the side. Okay. An employee whose name... Oh, I'm sorry, we already read that. Pretty much, Roth replied. Definitely not meeting with the FBI, I swear. Roth's colleague replied, "Lamau," to indicate they found it amusing. Thank you. Couldn't figure that out. So... last section here. According to Taibbi, the findings expose the erosion of standards as Twitter, as well as the actions that were undertaken by high-level executives that violated the company's own policies in the months leading up to the events of the U.S. Capitol on January 6, 2021, prompting Twitter to ban Trump indefinitely. Screen grabs of internal messages revealed that as soon as Twitter executives banned Trump, they began planning to ban future presidents, with one executive noting that then incoming President Joe Biden's administration will not be suspended by Twitter unless absolutely necessary. Holy, what the fuck? Taibbi's report on Trump's ban, the first of 3 on Twitter, provided a number of examples, sharing screen grabs from internal Twitter communications as evidence. Taibbi, Weiss, and author Michael Schellenberger are the 3 authors Musk is using to release the inner workings of Twitter prior to, yes, the $44 billion acquisition. Okay, cool. Haven't heard anything from Schellenberger yet, but, okay, cool. And yeah, okay, cool. They outlined the rest of it. I was going to do that, or mostly just kind of throw to the Twitter thread, but feel free if you want to check in on that one, or on tomorrow, or on Monday's recap of all that stuff, because guess what? The leaks keep a-coming and they don't stop coming. On Friday, Taibbi said he, Weiss, and Schellenberger would publish 3 volumes dedicated to the censorship of Trump on Friday, Saturday, Sunday on Twitter. Schellenberger's follow-up report on Saturday will detail the chaos inside Twitter on the day Twitter banned Trump, while Weiss's report on Sunday will reveal the secret internal communications from the key date of January 8th, 2021. That'll be super fucking interesting. But I'm also very interested in what happens today. But that's where we're at so far. We're probably about an hour and change, at least from the time of recording. Maybe they'll be starting to be released by the time that you guys see this, once I get it all edited up and, the rest of this stuff recorded for in the future. I got some interesting things up here on the horizon that I'm going to be talking about. Things that you should be seeing relatively soon, because it's kind of hot news topics. But that's where we are when it comes to Trump, okay? They were planning to get rid of this motherfucker like that. They just had justification materialize because all of their terms, all of their standards were simply nebulous enough and vaguely worded enough in order to achieve their specific goals. I just hope that Elon Musk's, he tweeted out a picture of his bedside table not that long ago, and it had a flintlock pistol, and it had a revolver, and it had 6 cans of caffeine-free Coca-Cola. You should probably cut down on that. That shit is absolute fucking poison. But hopefully he's got some very trusted security guards, because I can imagine there's probably going to be some interesting names, some interesting revelations, and some very interesting reveals coming up in the next couple of days. So with all that said, thank you all very much for the gift of your time. I've been Don Consuelo. I want you to follow your gut and get after it. Take care, everyone.